Something I don't really like to talk about is the competitive side of Brawl Stars. Mainly because there's always someone who knows more than you and tells you, hey, you don't know.
Hey, you should know that X-Brother is meta because,
They pull out a damn Bible freaking out about the current brawler or the content creator who explained why, damn it, their favorite brawler was meta. But I think something we can all absolutely agree on in Brawl Stars is that the Brawl Stars meta is crap. It's totally disgusting. Even if Supercell wants to cover the sun with a finger and say, huh dude, hardcore players aren't even 1% of those who play Brawl Stars. How do you think the
meta is bad?
That's just something the government made up. And then you go play a match and in the first game they end up kicking your ass because you use good game and it sucks. It's clear that the game's meta is a mess, whether you look at it today when it comes out or 5 years from now. It's definitely an opinion we all know, and that's been repeated throughout history. The meta in Brawl Stars is crap, but why does this happen? Is it because Supercell does it in 3D? Do they not test things during balance changes, or is that just a rumor? Mendaya, does the Brawl Stars community like to complain? Just because, interestingly, it's part of the routine for everyone who plays Brawl Stars. Well, get ready, because today we're going to talk a bit about the Brawl Stars meta, and how this, no matter how many balance changes or reworks there are, or even if they try to make this game, in quotes, balanced, they'll never achieve it and they've never managed to do it. So if we're going to talk about this, we have to touch on a topic that might be pretty controversial and maybe more than one person will leave angry because of it. We need to realize something that not everyone notices. Who is Brawl Stars actually made for? Yes, Brawl Stars is a game for kids and in some cases teenagers. Although I don't doubt there's a 40-year-old in my audience more concerned with collecting brawlers than paying child support. If you're that guy, please do your kids a favor and pay child support already, please. We can clearly see that Brawl Stars has been inclusive and was recently banned in some countries simply because it's not for kids. But isn't it true that in the end, the design, the gameplay, and everything about the game is aimed at this audience? But if you look at it from this perspective, maybe you'll realize why this happens. So let's say that one of Supercell's main jobs is to make the game exciting. For someone who maybe doesn't have a lot of intelligence quotient, let's say, who enjoys getting kills by pressing a button, making 20 clips and uploading them to TikTok with funk music in the background, so people say, wow, dopamine. Since this is a real law about video games, it's the casual players who keep a game alive or who create a community, right? Winning a Fortnite match used to be a real achievement. Those who want to improve or feel they're playing well will invest the most time in the game. The ones who feel they're making progress, the ones who feel that little by little they're getting closer to being part of those players who know how to play, who are pro players and win world championships and millions by playing this thing. That's why there are overpowered things, so that you feel like you're the embodiment of Jesus Christ in the game and you keep playing for years. And yes, interestingly, that's something Supercell often mentions whenever they talk about statistics, the way new players come into the game. If there weren't overpowered things, people wouldn't find anything new or attention-grabbing to come back for. The same thing happens when they release brawlers. Those that aren't strong or aren't really bad are the ones the community tends to forget about in the game, since they usually don't attract much attention from players. A pretty clear example is the case of Genie, who since he didn't fit any of these characteristics, wasn't an overpowered brawler, nor was he really bad. People wouldn't have anything new or attention-grabbing in the game to return for. So, looking at it this way, Brawl Stars makes the decision to choose between the two audiences that could make up the base of the game. The first audience being those who are new and don't know anything about Brawl Stars, but they get really excited by the chaos in the game and the dopamine it generates. Most likely, these people will fall into the trap and end up playing Brawl Stars for another 20 years. And the second part of the audience are those who like balance, a competitive environment, maybe more professional, and where the meta actually makes sense. Although these are the people who already spend money on the game and will most likely quit at some point. So obviously, which audience do you think Supercell chooses? I think if you have any common sense, you'll know which one it is. This way things end up being broken or totally unbalanced. Or what we call the meta in Brawl Stars are those things they add as something new, which also encourages people to play even more and want to get those things. For example, the Brawl Stars meta nowadays is based on 3 brawlers. To begin with, we have the case of Vivi, who is a very strong brawler thanks to the buffs, and just by having a single brain cell, you can already play with him. We have Bull, who is almost in the same situation, and we have Sirius, who is the most recent brawler and maybe one of the most broken in the history of Brawl Stars. His abilities have no real counter. And by gathering the most shadows in matches, you'll end up winning no matter what. Since these 3 brawlers dominate the game so much, people are starting to get tired of them, but okay, it's not like these brawlers are that strong, right? It's not like you actually run into them in every match, right? Here we can see something truly curious about the game, and we could say that Supercell does this mainly to monetize the game. I mean, don't you find it strange that all the brawlers that are strong in the meta are the ones that were recently released in the game, or that in the last update they got some kind of buff? Maybe they should make it a little less unbalanced, don't you think? And this isn't an isolated case, it happens all the time, whether it's because they added a new ability or because they introduced a new brawler, for example. Someone who just started playing today will say, no way, the buffs are really overpowered. People who have been playing a bit longer will say, no way, the hypercharges were really overpowered. Those who have been around a bit longer will say, huh, Farino? The second gadgets, those were really crazy. And those who are practically prehistoric in age. Dude, the second star powers. Oh, bring me my Kokol. Something similar happens with the Brawlers, for example. Do you remember when Lumi was meta? That wasn't too long ago, right? Do you remember that move Kenji used to make in matches? Yeah, this situation has happened so many times throughout history that the dude who stopped playing Brawl Stars 7 years ago, he'll probably tell you, dude, get your life together and stop playing Brawl Stars. I mean, in Brawl Stars. There wasn't any brawler that, at any point after their release, was the best in the game and could beat you in 3 seconds, except for this idiot. All of this creates a belief that you need the new brawlers, the new buffs, the new ones. Something, since that's how you win easily, and that's also why a lot of people only play brawlers that require 2 brain cells, because that way you get more rewards, and you can climb trophies easily. That way you don't have to think much, and you could become a pro player without any effort. And this is where a very interesting question comes up. Do you really need to have the new brawlers or the latest overpowered stuff to play Brawl Stars well? The answer is no. In my case, I love playing with Penny. She's a brawler who might not be one of the strongest in the game. Interestingly, even though I get matched with players who always choose the most overpowered brawler, I can still beat them because I know Penny's gameplay so well. I can even end up humiliating them, honestly, because my god, they have no brains at all. That lets me have a fairly decent experience playing with this brawler. The problem is that to do that, I basically need to play a perfect match. Meanwhile, the ape I get matched with just needs to press a button, drop an egg in the bucket, and the bastard still gets mad. Tell me, how am I supposed to win with a Penny when I'm chased by 20 shadows from Sirius, and he's still summoning more? This is honestly annoying. I think that's why in most matches we always run into the same 3 characters as always. Because all the players in Brawl Stars just want to win. Maybe there's the occasional masochist who genuinely wants to play with their favorite character and doesn't care about going 0-9 in matches, and that's totally fine. But here's a question for you. If you had the option to choose between something that wins matches with a lot of effort, or to choose something with which you might lose, what would you pick? And you need to think a lot more to play with it and win. What would you choose? I would choose, well, my favorite brawler, because I don't follow trends. Man, shut up, you're gonna pick the easy brawler to win, don't pretend. This way, a lot of people rank up quite a few characters to relatively high trophies and become pseudo-pros with very specific characters. Look, for example, in this match, I was already playing in prestige trophies, and this guy was using Vivi, the most broken brawler in the game by far. But let me tell you, it turns out this guy played Brawl Stars in a terrible way. He would just recklessly charge at the opponents. He didn't attack for any good reason. He didn't even know what the heck to do in the game mode. He would just go forward, and maybe he'd end up killing someone. During the whole match, he kept dying because he just played really badly, honestly. If you check his profile, he had 20,000 trophies, and surprisingly his top brawler was Vivi. So yeah, this was a person who didn't learn anything about how to play the brawler, didn't learn anything about its moves, statistics, strategies, any pro tips to play better. Most likely he got to these trophies simply by moving forward, throwing buffies, and winning matches. Considering that nowadays, maybe because he's a brawler that's among the top in the meta, well, obviously he plays him quite well. But once this brawler gets nerfed, it's most likely that this person will never play him again, replacing him with the new broken brawler of the moment, making all these characters or abilities become 100% forgettable in the game, which happens to a lot of brawlers. I made a recent video about that, wink, wink. So seeing all this, the Brawl Stars meta will always be among the worst. And no matter how much Supercell wants to make balance changes and rewards, and whatever else they want to do, the game is never going to change. But anyway, let's see what I got. Brawl Stars, no way, they just released another babe.